Yo, what's happening, everybody? It's your boy M Rob, aka Marcus Robinson. M Rob goes hard. I had a question from a player the other day, and it was a good question. He asked me. He said, "Coach, when you were a player, you talked a lot of trash, didn't you?" And he said it in a jokingly manner, and I just laughed, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that was my thing." I wanted to see where every player was mentally. If they could take the verbal assault throughout a whole game and still be able to be productive on the court, right? And when I say verbal assault, I don't mean anything disrespectful or anything that's going to turn violent. I just meant me talking to you the whole game. Constantly talking to you, constantly just testing you mentally, seeing if you could break, right? And he asked me why I did it. And I said, "Man, that's a good question, young fella." So I gave him a real answer, right? I said, "Listen, I've always been the type of player that played better when my back was against the wall, when I had something to prove, right? So a lot of times I would come out, especially as a youngster, freshman, sophomore, even junior year, I would come out and not really have that killer instinct, not really have that dog type of mentality. I knew I was a dog, because I had the skill set, but my mindset just wasn't sharp enough. I didn't have that chip yet, right? So going into my senior year, I decided that I was going to study the greats, and at that time it was Michael Jordan at the time, right? And Gary Payton was a guard that I liked to watch, and Magic Johnson, all those guys, right? And I noticed that a lot of them would talk a lot of trash on the court. And again, it wasn't any type of disrespectful trash talking, but it was just the type of trash talking that was self-motivating and uplifting. And I really soaked that up, and I decided to implement that into my game right over the summer. And what I noticed that was when I backed myself into a corner, when I would talk trash and constantly, just do it throughout the game, I felt like I had to back that up, or I felt like if I didn't, I'd be a sucker, I'd be a punk, right? And I've never been a punk in my life, right? So, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna talk all this trash, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna back it up, right? And ain't gonna be nothing you can do about it. And that's what I did, man. So I talked trash, and I told the young fella, I talked trash not because it was something that I wanted to do to really get an edge over my opponent. My primary reason to talk trash was for me, was to motivate me, because I knew who I was as a player. I figured it out. I understood that I needed to challenge myself, and I understood that me backing myself in the corner, putting my back up against the wall, would enable me to go out there and be a dog, and to play with a chip on my shoulder, and to be able to prove that everything I said verbally came to fruition during the game. And it worked out well for me, to the point to where I went from averaging 12 points a game my junior year in high school to averaging 25 a game my senior year, getting some scholarship offers from Division I universities, all because I made one change, really, because the skill set was there in terms of the work ethic and the skill set, but I changed it up here. I made a decision to communicate more, use the power of communication to motivate me, to make me mentally tougher, and to be able to use my mind in conjunction with my skill set, my physical skill set. And that elevated me to the point to where I doubled my scoring output and my effectiveness on the offensive end of the floor. Defensively, I was already a dog. I was never going to let somebody light me up. But it enabled me, trash talking enabled me to destroy on the offensive end and lock up on the defensive end. Because if you're like me, you know, whatever comes out of my mouth, you can put your foot on it. You know what I'm saying? You can take that to the bank. That's gonna happen, and that's how I felt. So I'll come out there and say, all right, I'm putting 30 on your head, and that's what I did. I'm putting 20 on your head today. That's what I did. You know, you ain't getting nothing today. Lockdown city. So whatever you average, you're not getting that today. That's what I did on defense. Just because I was using trash talking as a motivational aspect to help me maximize my truest potential on a basketball court. And, you know, that's what I suggest to any player who's kind of feeling self-doubt, who's kind of wavering in their confidence. Challenge yourself by making some bold statements to your teammates in practice and to your opponents when the game time comes throughout the game. Eventually, what's going to happen is you're going to start getting used to it. You're going to start getting used to communicating in that aspect, that you're going to feel comfortable with your back against the wall and you just constantly self-motivating while you're also secondarily, you know, seeing if the opponent can even take the trash talking. A lot of times opponents be so in their feelings that they can't take trash talking, right? So that's the secondary aspect of it. You could just be exposing an opponent, breaking them down without even trying to, really, because your primary motive is to just make sure that you are able to perform up to your highest abilities. And that's what trash talking did for me. It made me go out there and back up my trash talking, whether, you know, it was offensively or defensively. It was both for me. I was going to, like I said, I told him I was going to lock him down and I'm going to put 30 on your head, 20 on your head. You know what I mean? So all I can say is if you're like I was, kind of wavering in that confidence, knowing it's there, knowing you have that dog, put yourself in a position where you have to boss up or stand down. You dig what I'm saying? A true leader, somebody who's got a, you know, true dog, real dog inside of them, they're gonna talk that talk and walk that walk, and they're gonna boss up. If it's not in you, you're gonna stand down, and you're gonna look like a clown at the end of the day because you popped up off the mouth and you couldn't deliver the goods. You dig? So, you know, that's kind of what I told them. I hope that helps you guys out too. For those of you guys who are kind of wavering and they just feel like they need that extra incentive, that extra push to go out there and prove the naysayers wrong, that's how you do it. I promise you it'll work. Just constantly do it. Keep doing it. Stay the course. You'll get used to it. And man, you'll develop a mouthpiece that sharpen all four corners. You'll be able to talk to the coaches. You'll be able to talk to the referees. You'll be able to talk to the opposing players. Shoot, I even had great conversations with the fans. Road games were my favorite because I had a whole crowd to talk to, you know, in a hostile environment. Oh, I loved it. And you will too. But first you gotta make that choice. Gotta make that choice to kind of hone your skill, hone your mouthpiece, and get that double-edged sword with a mouthpiece and that jump shot, and that skill set. Double-edged sword meaning your mental and your physical skill set, all right? Hope that helped you out. I'm gone. Till next time.